Everybody, this is Dennis Becker. In about 2 minutes, we're going to start the web chat. And until then, I would like to welcome everyone that's given up of their precious and valuable time today to join us. I got a special guest with me today. And Google Hangouts has this funny quirk of delaying what you see and hear based on when we say it and move our lips. So usually that's somewhere between 15 to 30 to 45 seconds or so. So I just want to pause a little bit here. When you hear the sound of my voice, if you could type in the chat box that you hear me loud and clear, I'd appreciate it. And once I get people saying they hear us, we'll get started. So in the meantime, Marlon, you're our guest today. You just want to say a few words. People can make sure they see and hear you also.
Hi, Dennis. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm hoping they hear me, but if they don't, they can just fill in the blanks. I'll move my mouth, and then they like it's the ultimate tell yourself what you want to hear hangout. Like,
Yeah.
fill in. When my mouth is moving, just fill in whatever it is that you needed someone to tell you.
Yeah. Oh, I promised people an entertaining web chat today, and I don't think
Yeah.
we're going to go wrong there. Knowing who I got beside me on the film strip below. So yeah, people are starting to get in here. Barb the Quiet and Shy. I wonder if that's the Barb from New Jersey saying ping, ping, ping. So yeah, people are hearing us. So Marlon, I'm going to start by introducing you, and got a few things to say, and then we're going to have a nice conversation. I'll try to get a few words in myself, but
We'll let you do that this time, Dennis. I did it in the last chat, but this time
well,
I
you,
will.
you promised, but we'll see. Anyway, hello everyone. Welcome to this week's web chat. Before I introduce my very special guest today, I'd just like to set the stage for our discussion. We have people listening who are at various stages of their internet marketing careers, beginning, intermediate, advanced, experts, and some who don't know where they fall in, but hopefully you're in one of those areas. I know that for beginners, the path to success might seem very overwhelming, and there seems to be a billion things to learn and do, but the good news is there's not a billion things to learn and do. If you consider a company like Microsoft or Apple, they were founded by Bill Gates or by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. They were built by people who were not man geniuses, even though the urban legend says they might be, but they were actually built by people with a dream and a mindset that said that nothing could hold them back from achieving those dreams. And our talk today is about mindset, and I consider mindset to be a funny thing. It exists, but you can't hold it or see it or hear it or smell it, but it is inside every human being, and it drives us every day. In my own case, back in the late 90s and early 2000s, I was suffering. I had worked in jobs for years. I had started my own businesses, a couple of them. I really wanted to succeed online with that relatively new thing at the time called the World Wide Web, but I couldn't make it work for me, and I didn't know why. I know there were people making a lot of money. For example, in the early 2000s, I forget exactly when, but around 2002, 2003 or 4 or whatever, John Reese had a famous $1 million day selling his traffic secrets course, and I bought that. More than I had spent for any course before in an individual lump sum, and I really couldn't afford it. But at that time, my best online day to that point was around $100, and I had done that just once. So I was really interested in seeing what John had to say. But did that mean that John Reese was 10,000 times smarter than me because he had a day that was 10,000 times better than my best day? I wasn't convinced that he was. So I kept learning and trying and stubbornly doing one thing after another to no avail. Now, John Reese wasn't 10,000 times smarter than me, but maybe his mindset was 10,000 times stronger than mine, or 10 times or 100 times, I don't know. But I was unfocused. I had a severe lack of self-confidence at the time. I had poor time management skills at the time. I didn't have a single mentor or coach, and worst of all, I had a lack mentality instead of an abundance mentality because I was so deep in debt. But one thing I did have then was that I was stubborn, and I was unwilling to give up, and that kept me going through the toughest days. And one day I finally decided that I would probably never make $1 million in a day like John Reese did, but I wanted to see if I could make $5 in a day, and I wanted to do it in a way that was repeatable, and I did that. And once I did that, I lathered and rinsed and repeated, and after a while, I decided to write a book about it because people were encouraging me to, and I soon built a solid foundation with multiple streams of income. And once that started happening, my mindset started growing stronger, and it started changing from one of lack to one of abundance. And back then, I followed I followed a few guys, but one of the guys I followed was Marlon Sanders, and I read some of his books, and I thought of him with awe and respect, and I still read his books and what he writes, and I still think of him with awe and respect. And difference today versus then is I also consider him a friend, and I'm privileged to have him virtually beside me here, even though he's in Texas and I'm in New Jersey. But we're here thanks to Google Hangouts and the World Wide Web to be together. And I want to welcome Marlon Sanders to the web chat. Marlon, how are you doing today?
Dennis, doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Are you preparing your sequel yet? I mean, you already did the $5 a day. I know you got the $1,000 a day, but the newbies have a hard time identifying with 1,000. How about going up your new version 2, $10 a day?
I didn't do that, but I did $5 a day revisited back in 2011, and yeah, I'm working on a sequel.
I think it's time for $10 a day, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to call it beyond $5 a day. I don't want to put limitations on what people think they can achieve. So,
did you lack self-confidence when you produced that first $5 a day product? What was your mental state?
My mental state back then. Wow, interesting. You asked that. I don't know. That was back in 2005. My mental state was, yeah, I did lack a little self-confidence. I decided to do some Google AdWords and some affiliate marketing with eBay sites, right? And I picked a product that at first thought I said I can't do that product because it was the Xbox 360 gaming system, and I said that's owned by Microsoft, and I'd had some problems with Microsoft in the past, and I was hoping they wouldn't notice me promoting one of their trademarked items and all that. And I also saw there was a competition about 85 billion results if you did a search for Xbox 360 on Google, and I said, no, that's too much competition. But I also said to myself, I said, you know what, I'm going nowhere fast, and I'm really sinking. So I really ought to try something. It's not going to take me more than a few days to get this ad campaign going and try it out and see if it works. And if it doesn't, I'll go do something else. So thank goodness I tried it and it worked. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, you based it off of the, wasn't it? I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Ryan, was it Ryan who had the whole system where the campaign blaster thing?
Yeah, that was Matt Levenhagen.
Yeah. That was like, I really loved that product so much. I thought that's why I really loved the $5 a day, because I really thought that I really liked, I still think it's a great concept. I still think you can probably do it with Bing, although I'm not sure. But really.
You could do it with Bing. You could do it with
marketing principles in that course.
Yeah, you could probably do it with Facebook too.
Yeah.
But yeah, things have changed. What I did back then wouldn't work the same way today. But that was, what was it, 2005? So that's 10 years ago.
How long was it before your next product after that?
Good question. You're testing my long-term memory, Marlon. Well, the next major product was the Earn 1K a Day membership site.
And how long was that?
That was, well, I wrote $5 a day in 2006, and then I had the free forum for $5 a day people shortly after that, and then 6 months or so after that, I started the paid forum, and then as I started producing more info products and all that after that, and now my Nanocast system is up to like 500 or 600 products on it. So after a while, it starts to snowball, and things start to materialize. But you know how it is. When was your first product?
Well, the first one was before anyone delivered anything digitally, so those were paper and ink products in I was doing some I saw some things on AOL, but they weren't my products. I was buying stuff and having it drop shipped. Russ von Holscher books. So I met Jonathan Mizell because he was selling them too. Because it was like the only drop ship program available, basically, that was books anyway. So we were both in the same drop ship, selling the same drop ship thing on AOL, but he was giving a free bonus of tested advertising methods or something as a free bonus, and and he wrote these really great bullet points, and I met him that way. So yeah, he went way back, and then in 94, 95, 96, 97, I mean, my first digital product, Amazing Formula, was 97, December of 97.
Yeah, so you predate me by a while.
Yeah.
Like I told people in the intro, I followed you, and I read some of your stuff, and I always found it interesting and entertaining and amusing, and um, stuff that stayed with me. And you still write that way. Whether it's your books or your sales videos or your sales pages. Um, did you ever have a point in time when um, long ago when you were lacking in self confidence, and if so, how did you overcome that?
Man, I wasn't lacking in self confidence. I was lacking in money. It's like Reverend Ike says. He says it's not the love of money that's the root of all evil. It's the lack of money. Was eating minute 30-second microwave corn dogs and 2 minute and 30-second burritos, and I had a car that smoked like a bomb. And I got a date with this model. She was a legitimate model with the biggest agency in Dallas. And yeah, when we go to our destination, and I park valet, and I get out of the car, and my car's smoking like a bomb. The valet are like laughing, and then she got this unbelievably gorgeous 6 foot tall model gets out of the car, and they're just stunned. It was a very funny moment. But yeah, I I was lucky to have some mentors and different things that probably helped some on the confidence. My thing was more lack of skill because I mean we didn't have the internet, we didn't have all the training programs, so you just had nothing to learn from really.
Right.
So it was kind of the long, it took me probably 10 years to learn what you could learn in a month today,
Yeah, isn't that
if you
something?
applied yourself.
Yeah. But one problem I sense with a lot of people is they don't really, even though they say they do, apply themselves because they're jumping from one bright shiny object to the next, and they don't really drill down to the core 6 or 8 or 10 things that they really need to drill down on.
Why do you
Uh,
think that is? Why do you think they do that?
um, I don't know, just intoxicating sales letters, I guess. People that learned how to write sales copy from your your original product. What was it called? Your sales letter
Well,
creator.
I had Amazing Formula and some other products,
Yeah.
but
No,
there are a
seriously.
lot of enticing letters out there that make it that but I still see, I mean, you teach people basics as I do, and I still see that people have problems sticking to that. I guess we all do. I guess we're all a little bit ADD.
Yeah. Plus the prices have gone down when you and the others were selling stuff for $47 and $97 back then. It was sort of um, a major decision to make whether or not to invest in that particular training.
Right.
Where now you go to the Warrior Forum and you got 20 things staring you in the face that are all interesting on page one, and some of them are 97 cents and some of them are $7 and whatever. People can say, oh, I'll take that and I'll take that and I'll take that. It's just like going to McDonald's and buying off the dollar menu, even if you're not that hungry.
Well, it's interesting though. So I before we got on the hangout, I told you I was my high school chess champion, and I actually beat the guy who was the state chess champion of Oklahoma, who was in another high school I went to, and I only beat him once because the guy could play entire games from from his brain while driving a car, and he could play the whole thing without seeing a chessboard. He had a brain like, I can't even tell you. The guy was enormously gifted. But anyway, make a long story short, I still love chess, even though I probably could play a game worth anything. But I love studying it, just like magic. I buy tricks. I really don't practice them much, but I love it. It's a hobby. So anyway, I bought this thing by this grandmaster. He was a Russian, trained in the classical Russian thing. He was Russian. Now I think he lives maybe in the U.S. or something, and sells and trains people in chess. Well, I was reading today, Dennis, his description of why people fail at chess, the mistakes newbies make. And it sounded like he was talking about internet marketing. Exactly the same thing we're talking about here, how that people keep just chasing the latest kind of like theory, the newest theory, right? How that they don't learn the basics. All the kinds of things we say in terms of learning internet marketing. So I think it's really interesting. It's not just about IM. I think it's like some kind of, I don't want to say a flaw in human beings, but there's some kind of predisposition to that sort of behavior. And so his point is, he believes the biggest obstacle for newbies learning chess is here's what his statement is. It is the acquisition of pointless knowledge. That's what he calls it.
That's a great quote.
He calls it the acquisition of pointless knowledge. He says none of that knowledge is going to help them play a better game. He says what they need is a better understanding, not knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's interesting, and he talked about a lot of this same theme. So I don't necessarily have the solution to it, other than I think if you really understand the basics of marketing, maybe you can see through what's going on and get down to just a real practical, implementable plan. Not dissimilar from what you were teaching in $5 a day, coincidentally.
Okay. No, I agree. And I've never, I mean, me more than you, but both of us do affiliate promos, and we're let's say I'm promoting a particular hot product on JVZoo or Warrior Plus or whatever. Some people are going to look at that and say, well, that's a bright shiny object for me. Why are you putting that in my face? When you're trying to tell me that I shouldn't chase bright shiny objects, and I tell them that what a bright shiny object is for one person might be critical knowledge for another one that might change their life. I mean, I like to say that everything is for someone, and nothing is for or nothing is for everyone, and everything is for someone. So
well, the biggest thing is in my every newsletter I write a newsletter every Saturday. Bottom of the newsletter, I got this man with the poem about the woods and the road less traveled, and he came upon the fork in the road. And it's a man walking down this road, and there's a fork in it, right? And that's a lonely road. And we all walk down that road, right? And the reason is because everybody has a pitch. Everybody. I have a pitch. Yeah, everybody has a vested interest and a vested viewpoint. So, for example, if you buy a product from me and then you're looking at buying something from someone else, I'm probably going to tell you it's a bright and shiny object. Why? Because it's not something I'm selling. If I'm selling it, by definition, it's not a bright and shiny object.
Yeah.
If you're going to buy it from somebody else, no, that's a bright and shiny object. No, don't go over there. Everybody has a vested interest. Of course, they're going to say things sold by other people are bright and shiny objects. They want you to spend their money with them. So it's part of, and it's hard for a newbie kind of to understand. They say, well, who do I trust? And, I think you have to listen to the different viewpoints. And at the end, you walk down the road alone and you face that decision of who to trust on that path by yourself.
Right. But there's also the situation where, let's say they buy my product on, I don't know, on, list building, or my product on traffic. There's other things that they need to learn if they don't already know them. And if Marlon Sanders is selling a product on how to write the, a sales page, a sales letter, which I don't teach particularly, if they're at that point where they really need to start, if they've created a product and what's stopping them from launching it and making money from it is the fact they don't have a sales page and they don't have the money to pay somebody to write their sales page, then maybe they need to buy Marlon's product. Now, it wouldn't be a bright shiny object for them, but it might be for somebody else.
So, Dennis, we're actually behind in our conversation today. We're supposed to be beginning this chat with the definition of mindset. What is your definition of mindset?
Well, you're you've taken control of the web chat, Marlon, which is great.
No, we have a list of questions
Yeah,
here.
no, we have a list of questions, and I was
We're
going to
off
explain.
on bright and shiny objects,
I was going to
chasing
explain to people
rabbits.
that in our 10-minute chat beforehand, before we went on live, that we had a little bit of a discussion about the fact that we're I wouldn't say in violent disagreement about some of the talking points, but we are in some disagreements. So that's going to make an interesting um, conversation.
So you're
My,
avoiding the question. What is it about the definition of mindset that you don't want it, that makes you feel uncomfortable?
it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. It's just something that's difficult to define. Um, I was reading an excerpt from a book, actually the look inside part of an Amazon book that said that it's an established set of attitudes that is held by someone, and what those attitudes might be can vary. But there's two different kinds of mindset. One is that people have a fixed mindset, and that everything is going to be going along. They expect everything to go along um, predictably, day by day by day, like the Popeye "I am what I am and that's all what I am" kind of attitude. And then
Right.
there's the growth mindset where people are saying, "Well, I'm more of an entrepreneur, right? I really want to grow and build my income and do better this week than I did last week, and I have goals and I have aspirations and all that." And the good thing is that the mindset is something that is flexible, that you can change from year to year, from month to month, or whatever, if you set goals. And it usually, to me, it requires changing to a large degree your habits, and that can be difficult for a lot of people. And the people with the fixed mindset, they probably grew up with the attitude from their parents, who got that attitude from their parents, who got that attitude from their parents, back when things were a lot different than they are today. That what people typically do is they go to school, they graduate, they maybe go to college and they graduate, and they get a job with a big company, and they're set for the rest of their life. They just work 8 or 9 hours a day. They commute to their job an hour each way maybe, and then they go home to their family and have dinner and watch TV and drink a beer or whatever. So, a lot of people um, have that attitude, and without those people, I mean, that's not bad. Without those people, there's a lot of work that wouldn't get done. There wouldn't be anybody working the counters at McDonald's or at Best Buy or at a Walmart. There wouldn't be greeters. There wouldn't be people that are running these big companies. There wouldn't be the insurance claims agents that are doing a great job to when we're in an accident getting us our money. Those people are needed too. But I tend to believe that probably most of our audience are people that have a mindset that they want to grow and adapt and learn new things and make more money. So that would be sort of evading the question, because I don't see it as being a really definitive answer to what is mindset. But what's yours, Marlon?
Mindset. It's a good question. To me, I think it's just what you're focusing on, Dennis. You know the old Anthony Robbins thing about that your focus controls your behavior. Focus controls feelings, feelings determine behavior. So I think because Anthony Robbins had this whole thing about you could change your life in an instant, and I used to think that was just BS. But later I saw what he was saying was your focus determines what you put your attention on. What you put your attention on determines your feelings, and your feelings largely, although not exclusively, determine your behavior. Behavior determines your results in life. So yes, in an instant you can change what you focus on. Therefore, in an instant, if you extrapolate that into the future, if you change moment by moment what you focus on, you actually change your behaviors, which ultimately changes your life.
Okay. Um, I won't disagree, but what I'm focusing on today would be different than what I'm focusing on tomorrow on a low level. Today, the most important thing for me was
Well, I can
to,
help you with that.
to, to
I have a new focusing program, coaching it's 500 a month.
okay,
Well, we made it 500 a month because at that price you'll focus.
yeah,
Because you
yeah,
need to focus to get your 500 bucks back. That's the
yeah,
thing.
yeah, true, true.
No, I
So,
really do. I believe that, Dennis. I understand your focus can change day to day, but yeah, I mean, you brought up an issue later on in our questions about the abundance mindset or scarcity, which is one way of saying, are you dominantly focused on scarcity? Are you dominantly, most of the time, focused on abundance ideas, right?
right,
So to me, that's what it means is dominantly, what are you focused on?
okay.
Dominantly.
Well, that goes sort of the same discussion would also go back to setting goals, wouldn't it? I mean, you have long term and medium term and short term goals, and my goal for this week is to do, get a certain little thing done. My goal for the year might be, much broader thing to focus on, but day to day, um, I'll focus on the little bitty steps, the incremental steps that I need to do to get a little ways along the path to that longer term goal.
Well,
So
except most people write goals and then stick them in a drawer so they don't focus on anything.
yeah,
They pull them out. I set goals. I don't understand. It's the end of the year and none of this crap happened. What the
yeah.
hey?
I set goals back on December 31st, and here it is, February 25th, and I
I
haven't
know. And what
reached any of them
happened?
yet. What were your goals? Well, I don't remember, but I got
I
them
don't
written
remember.
down somewhere.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, but along with the goals, you have to start making plans to achieve those goals, and then you got to break it down into smaller and smaller steps, and then you focus on the steps. And what I'm saying is that um, back when you set the goal, you were focused on reaching that particular goal. I call it going from point A to point B, and like a GPS. And when you get in your car and you got to go from New Jersey to Texas. I mean, I'm focused on getting to Texas, but right now my focus is getting onto the highway, onto the right highway to get me out of New Jersey and into Pennsylvania, and then into Ohio and wherever goes on there. So you really lose track to a large degree on what your overall focus is if you are working the day to day and the smaller steps that you need to get to where you're really wanting to go. And one of the other things, well, one of the first things was on our talking list. I gave to Marlon beforehand. I didn't know how many we'd be able to get through, but and this is one that's going to lead to a good discussion, I think. I'd ask him, Marlon, what his definition of success is. And what did you tell me, Marlon?
Well, I'd be interested in hearing your definition of success. You never.
Oh,
I
I'm
told you
I'm running
yours.
this chat, Marlon. You gotta.
All right.
I
Yeah.
asked the
Well, see,
questions.
I don't. I think success is a label. That's all it is. It doesn't exist. There is no objective success. It's just a label that we ascribe or assign to something, right? So if you self-define whatever it is a success, it's a success because you yourself applied that label to it. So success could be anything that you decide to apply the label to. Like if I have a goal to become an alcoholic and I drink like a fish, as jacked up as that sounds, I just self-assign the label to it. Nobody else may agree with my label, right?
Right.
But I assign the label to it. So it's just what it, so I don't really see as a label of success as being useful in anything other than a sermon. Because in a sermon, it's just really great because, it's the perfect setup of, Most people spend all their life climbing this ladder of success only to find out when they get to the top, they ended up in the wrong place. That's because there's flaming fire and stuff. So today you got a choice. Do you want the flaming fire or do you want the streets of gold? See, it's a perfect setup.
Yeah.
But I don't think success exists. I think it's just whatever you define. It's a label.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is.
think.
It is a label. I think there's internal success, and then there's external success. And internal success, I think I would define as I decide what I want to achieve. Maybe I want to lose 10 pounds, and if I lose 10 pounds, and I say to myself, well, I was successful doing that, and now I want to lose another 10 pounds. But to somebody else, they don't care how much I weigh. They care. They look at me as, and they look at you, and they look at Frank Kern or whoever else. They look at the income they have, and maybe the fancy houses they put on their sales pages, and the dollar bills they wave, and the seminars they speak at, and get thousands of raving fans to. They consider that a success, but that's more external. That's not what drives me. I'd rather um, just have enough to get by, and leave it at that. But
Well, if you're, I think success is self-defined. If you're a fisherman, success is a boat of fish. Now, if you ask me, do you want a boat of fish? I'll be like, no, dog. What am I going to do with a boat of fish?
yeah, I'll go to Arthur Treacher's and get my fish. That's
I mean, I'll go to a sushi place maybe.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but the fisherman might not be able to afford to go to the sushi place, so
But
he has to.
I do have a question on this. You established this kind of with some objectives for newbies. So why do you feel it's important for a newbie to have some kind of definition of mindset, and to have maybe, and why do you think that it's important to even ask this question about how do you define success? What's important about that to a newbie? Why did you include these questions?
Well, we aren't just talking to newbies here on this chat. We're talking to all sorts of people, but
Okay.
I think it's important to get people in the thinking mode of focusing on what they want to do, what they want to achieve, how to get from point A to point B, how to manage their time, what they have to sacrifice in order to achieve whatever their goal is, that
You're a
kind of
big
thing.
point A to point B guy. Were you? I forget your background. Were you an engineer?
A computer programmer,
Programmer, all right. So you write a program to get from point A to point B to achieve certain outputs or functions.
right?
So you're really helping people write a program to accomplish an output, which is money banked.
You could say that, yeah. And
And
you've
your
been
programming language is marketing, PHP.
okay.
Yeah, that
I
went
mean,
nowhere, Dennis, but I
yeah,
just thought I'd throw it in because it's a
no,
great analogy for
no, it is a
some.
great analogy, and if you think back, if you look at your inventory of info products, you'll probably see that a lot of them sort of follow that same path, where you're teaching people certain individual steps. I mean, you've got your your traffic dashboards, and you have a whole bunch of dashboards that you have people go through, and they got a grid of different um, things on them that you ask people to accomplish in order to complete a step line by line, right? So isn't that sort of the same thing?
Sort of, it kind of goes back to chess. So I found this really interesting. The Grandmaster says 95% of the people do not have what he calls maximum insistency on accomplishing their plan in the chess game. So in a chess game, after the opening, you take somewhere between 5 to 15 minutes to establish your plan to win that game, right? He says 95% of the people set a plan and don't have what he calls maximum insistency on accomplishing that plan. And he says a grandmaster, in contrast, will doggedly pursue the plan in spite of obstacles and other things. So again, it comes back and relates to marketing of, it's one thing to have a plan, which accomplishes however you're defining success within the bounds of what you want from your internet marketing. But it's really another point. It goes back to point A to point B. The way you get from point A to point B is maximum insistency, persistence,
Okay.
real attention to that, and just in spite of the obstacles, you get there one way or the other.
Right. So that goes back to focus.
Yes, it does. For longer than a day. It's not hard to focus for a day. My problem is day two. Day one is easy. It's always day two that's, man. Day three, just forget about it.
Yeah. Well, that's where I get in my point A to point B in my GPS analogy, and that I don't worry about where B is on day one. I just worry about, you know, the woman that's talking to me says go 1.1 miles and then take a left, and I say, okay, I can do that. And then she says, go 3.5 miles and take the jug handle and take a right. So
I really should work on my GPS. It's in German, so I usually don't get where I'm headed.
yeah, what bothers me?
But I get some good sausages is the thing.
Yeah,
Bratwurst.
yeah. But then when they throw detours in your face and they make you recalculate and all that, then and that's where I guess the beginners in internet marketing they get so overwhelmed they say, oh, I can't put up with this, and I give up and I'll go on to the next bright shiny object and maybe that'll help. So I don't know, but yeah, we're back to focus. I think is
what.
So we're you did to me again, Marlon. We're back
No, they didn't hear this earlier. Before
yeah.
this was so classic. Before this presentation, I was setting up a joke with Dennis. So one of the questions was like some question about focus. So I said, Dennis, can you please ask me the question about focus again? I didn't get it, which is supposed to be a joke. And Dennis says, what? I was talking here to Connie, but he was serious. I was joking. So
yeah,
that's both of our abilities to focus.
Yeah, you got me there, Marlon.
Yeah, right?
You got me there.
What's our next deal here?
Oh, I don't know. What do you want to talk about next?
I'm trying to focus on our questions here. What would you say someone's mindset how does it attribute to their success or their failure?
Yeah, how about that, Marlon? What do you think? I've had these.
Well, I just talked about the maximum consistency of success.
Okay, well,
on implementation of the plan, like that you're focused on it, you insist on it, and the grandmaster says in chess 95% of the people maybe they create a plan, but then they easily give it up. They run into a few obstacles. They just kind of and then their game goes to heck.
So part of that, the giving up part, I would say is to a large degree mindset, that you're not persistent.
Right.
So you got to have that. That's more than focus.
And it sounds easy, but it's not easy. I have a problem going A to B. It's not the easiest thing in the world, because what happens is none of us like pain. None of us like being uncomfortable. And anytime you pursue something that's challenging, you're going to run into uncomfortable things, right? And Grant Cardone, one of my favorite books, 10X Rule, talks about it. Grant Cardone says, if today, right now, you're not uncomfortable, he says, your goal isn't big enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, yeah, back to our backgrounds. I've got more of a, when you say I'm a step A to or point A to point B guy, yeah, well that's because I have the more analytical background of computer programming and this and that and the other, where you have, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but more of a different kind of background where you have more abstract.
I was a copywriter before being online I was a copywriter for a company involved in internet marketing in the very early days, a guru.
Right.
Copywriter for a guru way back.
Right. So
creative.
Yeah, you were creative. You were more abstract. You were more bottom line oriented than I was probably.
Right.
But I've had interviews and web chats and and personal one-on-one discussions with other a lot of different guys who I consider fairly successful. However I define success, they may not have thought they were as successful as I thought they were. But when I asked this question, how much do you attribute mindset to your success? The answer overwhelmingly was it was everything. It was far and away the most important thing that that they could imagine. It was far more important than some of the things that they had to do in their jobs or in their businesses, because what they had to do on a day by day basis, they could delegate to somebody else. They could hire somebody. They could outsource. They could bring in a partner that could do, whatever, to create the product, to rate the sales page, to drive the traffic or whatever. But they consider mindset just the thing that really was most important, the ability for them to sit down and come up with an idea and to put the wheels into motion to get that accomplished. That they would say to themselves, well, this is a good idea. Nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to make a bazillion dollars with it, and I'm going to conquer the space that nobody's taken over yet in that particular niche.
Well,
So I consider mindset to be the ultimate importance of anything that we do.
okay, but let's take a programmer.
Okay.
My brother was a programmer come out of college, right? He's not hired for the job, and they hire another programmer, right? Put the programmer on the job, the other dude they hired. After a week, he had no code written. So they fired him and they hired my brother, and my brother could write code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, programmer A that got fired, I don't care what his attitude was. I don't care what his mindset was. The dude couldn't write code. It was his job. He couldn't write code. Like, I don't care if he's like, oh my God, this is the best job. It's a great freaking day. Let me sit down and write here in Cobalt. Yeah. Where's that book at? I'm like, yeah, what is all this stuff? Boy, I should have not skipped all them classes. So what I see is I do think that the mindset is really a part of it, because if you're not gung-ho, you're not going to try, right? But what I see in talking to internet marketers, my observation is one of the things that sets them apart is they're hellacious problem solvers. Like, the best marketers I know solve problems that other people can't or don't. Usually they can't. Like, my two friends. One of my friends has product launch, right? My other friend's helping him. The EPCs, the earnings per click, are not good. It's not good enough for affiliates to promote. He doesn't know how to fix it. My other friend triples EPCs within 5 minutes. 5 or 10. Triple the EPCs. It went from 50 cents a click to $2.50 a click, roughly, in about 5 minutes. That is some really awesome problem solving right there. My one friend didn't know how to do it. My other friend did. You have a private site, a membership site, which is not an easy nut for most people to do, Dennis, because in internet marketing, it's well known on membership sites that the average person only stays 3 months, and a lot of times 2.5 months. It's just horrible. In contrast, you have so that's a problem, right? You have a
Right.
membership site and have solved a problem that the vast majority of people experience and quite honestly don't know how to solve. You solved a problem of people not staying in a membership site. And I believe that your average, I won't say what your average is, but if my data is correct, it's a lot longer than what the average, than the typical result I quoted. That's a problem you solved and were able to solve that most people, if everybody else knew how to solve that problem, they would.
Right.
If everybody else knew how to solve that problem, they would have a membership site that with where people stick as long as they stick in you solved it, and they didn't. And I see this a lot. I see one of my friends, Kevin Nations, is a friend of mine. Kevin Nations solved the problem of how do you sell $25,000 stuff in one consult over the phone without and have people really get great value from what they pay for and be really happy with it, not want refunds, have a great reputation. Well, that's a difficult problem to solve. I don't know how to solve that problem. I don't know. I don't know how to do that. But Kevin figured it out, and he gets paid 75 to 100,000 now to teach it to people, right? Because he solved a 75 or $100,000 problem, right?
Right.
Now most people are going around solving $7 problems. That's why they get $7. They solved a $7 problem.
Yep.
They solved a $10 problem, right? So I see the marketers I know, like Yannick Silver. It's interesting because originally he solved the problem of how do you get people to pay money, $2,000 for a seminar, when there's a bunch of seminars, the prices are going down, way down, they're just pitch fest, nobody wants to pay to go to them anymore. He created the underground and solved that problem, and it was very successful for many years until another marketer, Ryan Dice, comes along and says, okay, how do we solve the problem of we want to hold internet marketing seminars. We don't want to be Yannick. We don't want to be underground. But in a day and age when people are reticent to spend money to fly or travel, let alone pay $1,500 for a seminar, how do we sell it? And I just saw the video of their latest seminar when I think they had 6 screens up front for everybody to see. 6. I've never seen that many screens in a seminar before. Not in an internet marketing seminar. Big seminar used to have 2, and I thought that was huge, right?
Right.
So he solved a very unique problem. So I don't know if this goes anywhere, Dennis, but to me, mindset is important, but I see marketers that succeed being able to solve problems that other people can't solve. Like once the problem is solved, anyone can do it.
Yeah.
But the people that make the money tend to solve problems that other people can't. That's my observation. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, I don't think that's wrong. But if you dug down deep into those people that are solving the problems, you might find that what's causing that to happen is their mindset. The fact that they're willing and able to do things like think outside the box, which is another cliche that I like to throw around, but also they can focus on the problem rather than on how other people have failed to solve that problem. Like Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times to create the incandescent light bulb or whatever. He just had the mindset to keep on going, to not admit defeat, and to see that each particular iteration of his attempt to solve the problem that didn't work just got him closer and closer to one that would work.
Highly criticized approach to problem solving by some other famous inventors, but he did. It was kind of brute force problem solving.
Yeah.
How about you? Solving, when you started your membership site, I don't think persistency, keeping retention was not the issue it is today. Today in a membership site, in internet marketing, retention is tough. How did you go about solving what was your mindset? Let's stick to the topic. What was your mindset in solving obtaining good retention of your membership site in today's economy, in today's market?
Well, you mean when I started earning 1K a day? Back then, I had read what you quoted as being a typical 3 to 4 month average retention time for membership sites, and I just went into it saying, I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to create a framework for something where people can hang out and have a closed area, a forum where they can discuss their problems and the things that we all want to learn and know and all that. I'll provide some freebies here and there for people to benefit from as far as training. And I said to myself, I don't really care what the retention is. This is just going to be um, something that I'm going to throw up there, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'll go on to the next thing. And I really, in the back of my mind, it wasn't something that I worried about as far as retention, because I just had faith that if it was meant to be, it was meant to be. And fortunately, the people that joined in the beginning were the kind of people that made it a place that felt as much like a family and as much like a bunch of friends hanging out as anything else. So they tend to stay where they're comfortable, and they were comfortable. They still are. There's people that joined back in 2007 May when I opened the doors that are still there. So it's worked for me. I wasn't worried about the money I made. I was just concentrating on creating a site that people could benefit from and get value from, and I just took it from there, and it's grown tremendously over the years. So uh, retention wasn't in the back of my mind when I
Well, what
started it.
about your focus today on retention? Or your focus today on value? Has it changed any this year, last year? Have you changed your focus or anything? Anything changed in your approach? Because you've
I think,
changed pricing, I believe, in a few things.
yeah, I've changed pricing, several times over the years, but it's been more a focus on creating value that people can see and benefit from. If retention isn't good, then that means that the value isn't there, especially as the price goes up. So I watch retention, and it's still fairly good, a lot, much better than your 3 to 4 month average that you quoted. But it bothers me when I see that people come and leave. It means that I'm probably not doing a good enough job, or that the person just can't afford it to begin with. There's that situation also. People email me and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have to cancel, but I have to pay the rent this month too, and I can't do both." So um,
All right, fair enough.
so okay, here's another one that you told me before we started that might be something we disagree a lot on, and I'll let you start the discussion on this. I wrote down, what holds people back more, a fear of failure or a fear of success?
What do you think?
I think you should be the first one to answer on this one.
All right.
Uh,
I told you I don't really think either of those are issues. I just really don't.
yeah,
I don't. I see people fearing criticism. Fear of failure and fear of success is something you invent when you're a psychologist, because since you can't see it, you can't taste it, you can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can't even know if you improve it. It's really great as a psychologist because you can just keep that recurring billing coming in for freaking ever. I don't know, man. Probably another couple years and we'll get you over that fear of failure, and someday you'll be a millionaire. I'm sure it's the one thing holding you back, right? I mean, it's an invented concept. But I do see people being afraid of criticism. They're afraid of being criticized by family, friends, putting out a product that people don't like, or they get criticized for it, and they're afraid of that. That's something more concrete that's actionable, right? That's actionable.
yeah, I think
Um,
that's part of it. Yeah,
uh, Fear of success. I mean, it's like, yeah, I don't buy it. I no, dog.
yeah,
Yeah, like that's really. Let me just solve that for you right now. Everything you got to worry about in the world right now, that's at the bottom of the scale, dog. You worry about the starving kids in Bangladesh or somewhere, wherever they're starving. I don't even know where they're starving right now, but worry about them first, than being too successful. Cross that bridge when it gets there, because you
yeah,
got money. If it does explode, and I know what it's like to have something just freaking explode off the face of the planet, have your phone ringing day and night nonstop, people trying to hunt you down in your house, everything else, and thing is you have money, so it's like it's not really a big problem because you have money. If you're that successful, you got money. So money buys solutions. So that's not the real problem. Is, oh, I'm so afraid of success. you put the ad out and like it's a day later and you're still waiting for someone to buy. That's the problem right there, right? Now, fair criticism's an issue. Low expectation of success causes procrastination and is another huge problem. People say, I have a problem, I procrastinate. No, actually, that's not the problem. That's the symptom of the problem. The problem is you have a low expectation of success, which is the cause of the dominant cause of procrastination. It's very simple. You have a low expectation, you're going to succeed, which means that you need to revamp your plan and get a better plan so you're really confident that it is going to succeed. I mean, if your plan is so crappy that even you don't think it's going to work, yeah, it probably isn't. Like if even you look at your plan and go, man, I don't know, dog, this is a pretty crappy plan. I don't think this plane's going to fly. No, you're right. It's probably a crappy plan and you need to improve it. So it's a low expectation of success. Now, some people have an issue where, but it is a psychological issue. There are people that are normally sucked into business opportunities, and they have absolutely no confidence in self at all. So they seek certifications. They seek systems outside themselves because they have no belief in themselves at all. And, honestly, that's not a problem marketers can solve. And I doubt a psychologist can solve it. If you really want to solve that problem, be prepared for the long haul and dig in, because you got a real challenge on your hand. But that's the cause. That's the reason people pursue business opportunities. Somebody certifies them. There's a quote scientific system they can put their faith and confidence in. Dennis,
Okay.
you blurred out. We may be losing our connection. No, you're back now.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just listening.
now that's you really get into some sick business opportunity psychology there. What causes people to buy business opportunities? And I'll tell you a sidebar of this is the why when you pitch, you always hear that the person didn't invent it. They're either channeling somebody else or by analogy, they had a mentor and they're sharing what their mentor taught them. Because people have so low sometimes belief in themselves that they can't believe somebody else came up with the solution either. However, they can believe that a mentor gave them that solution. Some distant mentor you can't meet, you don't know, he's dead or he's in the Himalayas or somewhere where nobody will ever find him. Like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. See, Rich Dad, Poor Dad didn't go, no, I invented this crap. I made up all these charts. I hired a designer. I thought up all of this stuff. Everybody would be like, well, who are you? No. I had a mentor, and the guy was a genius. Now I'm just passing it along. I'm the vehicle. People can believe in that. But they don't have enough self-belief to believe somebody else had enough personal power to invent and create and make that stuff. It's really jacked up psychology, and you're talking about the bottom of the barrel, but there's millions of people out there like that who are big buyers, and it's really messed up because they have absolutely no personal power, no self-empowerment, and they unfortunately, it's instead of any kind of self-reliance, they put it all on someone else. That's why they all feel they get burned, because they have no self-reliance. So if anything goes wrong, it was obviously that other person that did them wrong.
Okay.
Because that's zero self-reliance, and it's jacked up. It's messed up mental thinking, and anybody who has it, good luck finding a shrink who can help you.
Okay.
It's the truth, Dennis. It cost me $2,500 to find out what I just explained.
Okay.
I mean, Dan Kennedy has a BizOp course about the business opportunity mindset. He understands that mindset better than probably anyone in the world, and he created a $2,500 course on it. He knows more about the business opportunity mindset than probably anybody on the planet.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hopefully
we don't have people listening to this like that. If they are, God help you, because you're about to get ripped off. Because you have no self-reliance, so you expect somebody else to give you everything. At the end of the day, again, you walk down that road alone. You face the path, you make the choice, and you live with the results. And you do it, not somebody else do it for you.
Okay.
All right. So everybody just hung up from the hangout. So whatever, it's free now, Dennis. We can say whatever we want
Yeah.
because
Well, yeah.
nobody's listening now.
I think there probably are. Um, personally, I think that fear of failure, fear of success, uh, pretty equally at fault as far
Okay.
as holding people back. Um, I tried to get over that when I wrote $5 a day. When I kept preaching failure is your friend. Um, try things. If they don't work, you can always adjust and whatever, like Thomas Edison did, and others. Um, so I think to a large degree, other than beginners, people realize that things aren't going to work every time, and they shouldn't be afraid to just, I won't say throw spaghetti against the wall and hope some of it sticks, but to some degree that's what internet marketers do. Um, but I think personally, I think the fear of success is just as insidious um, as the fear of failure, and that people tend to come in my opinion, into this business um, without any real background and as an entrepreneur or as a business person, and they don't realize what they're going to get into. And let me give a personal example. You know, I sort of coach and mentor people in my group, Facebook group, and in my um, Earn 1K a Day forum, and I'm comfortable with that. I'm real comfortable with that. I'm comfortable writing books that people read, and they ask me questions about them by email or whatever. But I've never been comfortable with the idea of becoming a, a high price coach, for example.
Yeah.
I've got a fear of success because I'm afraid that if I put out the word that I was available for $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month or $300 an hour or whatever it was, that maybe too many people would take me up on that. I know I could limit it, but I'm also afraid that I would, knowing my personality, I would get too invested in somebody else and helping them succeed that I wouldn't have time to do the things to help myself succeed that I need to focus on in my business. So I'm sort of afraid to do that. And I think a lot of people are also equally afraid to maybe launch a product or write a book. They're afraid of criticism. They're afraid of if they put something up on Kindle, they'll get all these horrible reviews. It's going to ruin their life and mark them as far as a pariah to avoid, or they might get all these support requests if they create a software product and it doesn't work and it ruins somebody's computer because it's got a hole in it that lets hackers get in, that they're going to be liable for um, all sorts of damages.
Well, they might be actually. They do have to think about that.
Yeah,
It's not
they
an
do.
irrational fear. Yeah, you might be. You should think about that.
Yeah, especially if you,
Errors and omissions or something
yeah,
policy.
if you're creating software. Yeah, so there's things that people say. Well, and then they also have I guess, a worry. They're comfortable with where they're at now. Let's say they have a 9 to 5 job already, and they're paying the bills or barely paying the bills, and they decide they want to investigate this internet marketing thingy a little bit, and maybe they can make a few extra dollars to fund their maybe a better car or a vacation or whatever, and they start doing okay, and then all of a sudden they aren't spending as much time as they should with their wife and their kids or their friends, and um, they're maybe succeeding too much, and they don't want to give up what they've tasted now, but they also don't want to give up the support group that they have always enjoyed in the past. Sometimes success means getting out of your comfort zone and getting involved with a new set of friends, people that are going to encourage you more than bring you down, more than somebody that maybe goes to the bar every Friday for happy hour and just complains about the boss all day long. They want to get away from the negative thinking and think more positively. Again, changing their mindset, changing their habits, giving up their Friday happy hours, and they're not sure that they really want the success as much as as much as you might think. So I think that's a fear of success that really does hold some people back.
Fair enough.
So my opinion,
Fair enough.
um, and I agree with yours too, that um, maybe a low expectation of success, to me sounds like a fear of failure, but maybe not. It depends on the person. It depends on, again, it's a mindset. It's very flexible and undefinable thing because it's going to vary from one individual. Every person on the planet
All
is
I
going to.
can say is I should really open up a psychotherapy business on the side. You send me all those fear of success and fear of failure people because they'll be on recurring billing till the cows come home. It's not a problem you can ever know that you overcome. How do you know? Oh yes, finally I've overcome my fear of failure. How do you know?
Yeah,
A test? Do you take a test? Oh yes, this test says I finally overcome my fear of failure. Thank God.
yeah,
That really sucked. I'm glad I finally made it.
yeah. Okay, moving on. Um,
Dennis is like, yeah, moving on.
we, I feel like Larry King now, Barbara Walters.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Um, I put down in our notes difference between an abundance mindset and a lack mindset.
Well, what you wrote here is willingness to outsource, to use paid traffic, invest in coaching, be patient, and to spend money to make money. That pretty much, I guess, maybe sums it up.
Maybe,
Um,
maybe. So yeah, if you got an abundant mindset, um, are you willing to do things like spend money on outsourcing or traffic or whatever or coaching or the things you mentioned from the list, or do you have a lack mindset saying, well, I can't afford to do that, so you don't do it and things don't get done.
good points. It's not something I sit around thinking about, but I think that
When did you start doing things like outsourcing and paying for traffic?
when you have just a crap load of money in your bank account and you're answering way the heck too many support tickets, you're like, man, freaking need to hire somebody to answer this stuff. I don't want to be doing this.
So you waited until you had a crap load of money in your bank account, or
I had thousands of dollars coming in and it was overwhelming, and I'm like, even being limited intelligence, I could go, wow, I better get some help.
yeah,
I don't want to be answering all of these support tickets. It's a lot of support tickets. And they all got problems and I don't know exactly how to fix them. So I better get someone. That's how
yeah,
I did it. So I posted on a forum and I'm like, hey, I really need to hire a customer support person. And Michael Fortin was like, well, Corey Rudel just bought Internet Marketing Center and he fired their customer support person. She's really good. You should hire her. So I did.
good. I'm glad it worked out.
And it worked out for like 12 years.
Yeah, that's a good history. And in my
So
case, I started paying for traffic.
the truth is, I talked to Corey, and Corey said the hardest person you ever hire is your first. He told me when he hired his first person, blah blah blah, and that's what I did, Dennis. I mean, truthfully, but it's never easy. You never really, for sure, feel like you can afford the person, and and there's that book, How to Get Rich, by that guy over in England. I forget his name. Dennis, someone.
Not
He's a
me.
billionaire. He owns like a bunch of magazines, and anyway, he writes in there about how he hires people. He waits till it's really bad. He's like, I wait till everybody's just terribly overworked, then I'll hire someone.
Yeah.
To each
Okay.
their own, I guess.
Yeah, to each their own. Um, yeah, I mean, I can't say that was my history. Um, I was deep, deep, deep in debt when I decided that I needed to do things like invest in paid traffic, and I didn't know how I'd pay for the AdWords bill other than It would get billed to my American Express account, but American Express makes you pay everything in full, within 25 days or whatever after the bill comes. And at the time that I was spending a lot of money on AdWords, I didn't know for sure that I was going to be able to pay that bill because all my credit cards were tapped out and my bank account had nothing in it,
Oh man,
and all that. So
a
that
nightmare.
was a mental um, struggle that I had, and fortunately, I had the mindset that said, you know what, if this doesn't work out, I suppose I could declare bankruptcy, and take Google down with me. Not that they would miss the $10,000 or whatever I spent a month on AdWords, but it worked out. But I've seen so many people that work so hard and so many hours to try to figure out how to drive paid get free traffic to drive them to their landing pages, their squeeze pages, or whatever. When if they just spent 20 or 30 or $50 on a paid ad campaign in Facebook or Bing or AdWords or wherever, they could get enough clicks to figure out if they needed to tweak the sales page to split test or whatever to get conversions up to where they're really ready to launch on JVZoo and get affiliates that are willing to promote because you have the EPCs up right. I think that's a major problem, and that people aren't willing to invest even $50 in themselves, and instead they'll work 50 hours. And to me, my time's worth more than $1 an hour. I mean, I could go work at
It's worth at
McDonald's
least
for that.
two. My gosh.
What was that?
Said it's worth at least two. My
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, at least. So, I think that's part of mindset that people are struggling with. It is just the confidence, and it goes back. I didn't put this on the list, Marlon, but it goes to a question that people really should be asking themselves, and too often they aren't. I think, are they in this business as a business, or are they in it as a hobby? And if you're in it as a business, you got to make some expenditures somewhere along the line, I think.
I like free traffic. Affiliate programs essentially free traffic. It's not free, but it is. But
Well, yeah, it
you
is.
have
I
to
mean, you're
sell. It
you're
has its own down. It has its own downsides. Paid traffic is a better long-term strategy. Affiliate traffic is great. Used to be great when you were getting started in niches. Now I think it's great within internet marketing. It's there and it can be good, but it's tough, a lot tougher than it used to be because there's just so much more. I mean, there's both sides of it. There's more affiliates, but there's more competition.
yeah.
So I
That's
can make both sides of that case. It really depends on your niche. Like within IM, if you think you're going to spend $50 on a Facebook campaign and have anything that works for you, I just seriously doubt it. Within the internet marketing niche, it's like, to get like Facebook ads to work in IM, I don't think is easy. I just don't. It's hard. It's not an easy. I don't. The people I see doing it are mostly selling big ticket coaching that are succeeding at
yeah.
it. So within the internet marketing niche, I see paid traffic as being a lot. I don't see a lot of people doing it successfully unless they're selling really big ticket coaching and stuff. Most of the people I know that are successful do it with affiliate programs. They say other stuff, they pitch other stuff, they teach other stuff, but at the end of the day, they're getting their traffic from an affiliate program.
So so other than internet marketing type products where you can launch on JVZoo and Warrior Plus and
Right.
wherever, if you're in some other niche,
What do you do?
how do you build up your affiliate your affiliate army to the point where you have enough to really send you some traffic? Knowing like you and I both do that probably only 1% of our affiliates are going to be reliably sending a decent number of visitors on any product we launch, and you know
Well, one thing is, first of all, in other niches, you don't have to pay through the nose for banner ads often, not always, depending. Like in health and fitness, you do. It depends on the niche again, but in some niches, those banners are going to be really cheap. So different types of paid ads might be your clicks on Facebook may be really cheap and affordable, but not always. Um, like I thought the juicing market I was gonna do a little side business on juice because I like juicing. And come to find out, that was a lot more competitive niche than I ever dreamed of. Like,
Mm.
I, wow, some of these people, and so it kind of depends on the niche, Dennis. But to answer your question, like I had a customer who sold sheepskin furniture or something in like Australia. Literally built it out of, I think, sheepskin or something. And he's like, there are no affiliate programs for sheepskin furniture. And I told him, great, the world is his oyster. Because imagine being able to go to other people that sell something similar and being like, for doing nothing, I'll send you a check for $100, and you're the first person that ever told him that.
Yeah.
You mean I ain't got to do nothing? No, dog, you ain't got to do nothing. Just send all your existing buyers this link here, and if and they buy, I'll just send you $100 on PayPal. You'll do that for me? Yeah, dog, I'll just mail it out. Oh, well, I mean, you got the world as your oyster. Imagine they're the first affiliate program the dude ever heard about.
Yeah.
I don't think that's such a tough deal to do.
No, maybe not. Maybe not. But hey, we've gone well over an hour now. Let's just wrap up with this one last point I have on the sheet. Um, Overcoming obstacles and challenges. That's something that I think holds a lot of people back. They start down a path towards whatever maybe they're creating their first product, or maybe they're creating their first squeeze page, or maybe they're putting up their first sales page on JVZoo, and they get to a point where they look at it and say, hey, this isn't going to work. I mean, it's happened to me, Marlon. I'll ask you if it's happened to you, but how do you blast past, other than brute force, those obstacles?
Well, we were talking about problem solving earlier,
Right.
That's really what problem solving is you got an obstacle and it's a problem. You got to solve it, right?
So if somebody's in this as a hobby, they my experience is they tend to give up at that point,
Yes, they do.
and that's part of their mindset. They're not willing to just
95%, according to the Grandmaster, would just kind of give up, right?
right, right. So what is it about your
Well, it's a
mindset and my
brilliant
mindset
theory,
that
right? They can just post their problem and you'll solve it for them. That's really a good deal. It's like the ultimate done for you problem solving.
yeah.
Just post your problem and somebody else will solve it for you. So really, even if you don't got a brain, you can succeed. You just need other people's brains.
Well, there's a nice niche market for somebody that listening to this call that can set up the next I don't know, social media site or whatever you want to call it. This next Fiverr. Yeah. Charge $500 for a solution instead of $5 for a gig.
No,
Whatever you want to do.
I don't have solutions to all problems. Sometimes you just got to say, I don't got the solution to that, and you go to the next plan. Like, I don't know how to sell $25,000 tickets over the phone, even though my friend Kevin Nations does. It was going to teach me for free in Las Vegas, but I was kind of busy and I didn't go down there and shoulda. But because it would have saved me $75,000, you know. But I don't know how to solve all problems. So the problems that I do have, though, that I do tend to solve, I use a set of thinking skills. I am a fan of Elihu Goldratt, who wrote the book The Goal, but his better book is called It's Not Luck. And it's a whole set of thinking skills, which, I mean, it's a set of defined problem solving. He's a brilliant problem solver, and it's a set of defined procedures for problem solving, which is rather elaborate. That's what I actually do. You first define what a contradiction is. Any problem is actually a contradiction between two things. So you define the contradiction, you lay out the assumptions, and then you attack the assumptions. And then once you come up with your plan, you find what are called negative branches, and then you problem solve to remove each negative branch as an obstacle. It's rather elaborate, but if you want to know what I do, it's laid out in his book, It's Not Luck, by Goldratt. So that's what I do.
Okay.
It's not like just some. I also, though, have the simple plan. You say, Marlo, that's too complex. I'm a newbie. I ain't going to go read no stinking book about problem solving. Then what you do is you take a. I also will do this, a legal pad or a text editor, whatever works, right? And you just write the question. You turn the problem into a question. You write it at the top of the legal pad. And every day you spend 10 minutes brainstorming. That works. It's not as
Yeah.
good as Goldratt. It's not as elegant, but it's
Yeah.
kind of a brute forcing, but it works.
Yeah. I like that myself. I like getting off the computer and a different spot and taking out the yellow pad and the pen and just writing something like you say at the top of the paper and going from there.
But if
I,
you want to solve more elaborate problems, Goldratt came up with a beautiful methodology. It's used in many businesses, used by the U.S. military. It's used by, I think, Boeing. It's used in many corporations. He trains people to consult with big companies and corporations in this problem-solving process, and they do it around the world. He has consultants around the world. They do it with schools and businesses and militaries and everything. It's actually a problem-solving methodology. It's very interesting, and it works. It's very good, but it's not something you learn just like in 10 minutes, you know.
yeah.
That whatever people were left on the call, that just lost them. They're like, I ain't gonna learn no problem solving methodology. Are you out of your freaking mind? I want like something, a 20-minute thing I can post and make $200 with, or 50, 500, or 1,000. 1,000 sounds good.
Yeah. Well, I used to be looking for that myself back when I was struggling, and I found that those things didn't work for me. And then when I tried to drill things down to more simplistic level, they started working. So I think that people that are on here that are still struggling to make their first dollar or their first $1,000 or their, whatever, um, would they would define as a success in their mind. Um, don't complicate things too much. Simplify things. Don't chase the bright shiny objects unless it's something that gets you closer to your goals.
Unless
That
it's
you,
on Dennis's list, because that's not bright and shiny,
no,
is it?
I have
If he's
things that
promoting
people.
it, buy it. If he's not, it's bright and shiny. That's the
No,
deal.
no, I've got enough thousands of people on my list. I know that when I send out an email, I'm not going to get 1,000 people to buy any one thing. Even if it's produced by somebody as genius as Marlon Sanders or Connie Reagan Green or Barb Lang or whoever else that I tend to promote. Um, I know that I'm not going to get a boatload of sales of any one thing, but if that particular item helps somebody or a dozen somebodies on my list, then I'm happy to recommend it. Because, like I said, nothing is for everyone, and everything's for someone. And if I've got 1,000 people open my emails and 100 people look at it, and 90 people say it's not for me, but 10 people say it is, and maybe out of those 10 people, maybe 5 of them it's going to be just the right thing at the right time for them, and a bright shiny object might be the right thing at the right time some other time for you. So
I was
um,
on your website, by the way, and I found a letter that had an interesting headline. It said ex-computer programmer creates system to go from point A to point B and earn $1,000 a day.
oh
I
yeah,
I didn't know you had that. That sounds like a good product, Dennis. Maybe I
yeah.
should get it, huh?
Well, where'd you find that? You have to send me the link. I might
Yeah.
buy it myself. Yeah, the ex computer programmer is right. Um,
Point A to point B,
that sounds like me. I don't remember putting it
thousand
in.
dollars a day.
Yeah, that sounds like me. I
Think
don't
you should
remember.
put that
I
on.
don't remember putting that all together on one sales page though.
Think you should put that on Zoo.
Yeah, probably.
Dear friend, it was very frustrating when I got into internet marketing because you don't understand. I'm a computer programmer. Computer programmer goes from point A to point B. And my thing was, all I wanted was point B. It was $1,000 a day. And the whole problem I had was I kept buying products that started at point A, but they never got me to point B. I was so frustrated, I was really about ready to quit. And then I stumbled across the strangest method that at the time I called $5 a day. Little did I know that I would actually end up making as much as $1,000 a day using this incredibly simple point A to point B system. See, as a programmer, I realized the way you get from point A to point B is by writing a program. I said, this can't be that hard. All I need to do is to write a program that is going to get me from point A to point B. My point B is $1,000. How freaking hard can it be to write a program to get me from point A to point B? So I sat down, I wrote my very first program to get me from point A to point B. Well, over the years, many people have bought this around the world and have used it and had really fantastic results. Here's just a few of them. But then later on, as the years have gone by, I actually improved the process and made it faster, simpler, and easier than ever before to be able to go from point A to point B. And recently, due to the clamoring of many of my friends and many of my associates and the people in my membership site, I finally put it together in my ultimate guide called How to Go from Point A to Point B, the ultimate guide to making $1,000 a day on the internet. I decided to make this available for a limited time to you, and here's what you're going to learn. First of all, there is Module 1, why point A sucks and how to never be at point A again. Module 2, the 10 things you absolutely positively must do in order to get to point B. Yes, that's right, $1,000 a day. Point C, all of the detours and the bright and shiny objects that are going to get you off the path and prevent and keep you from ever getting to your point B of $1,000 a day. Finally, the best module in there is step-by-step, my specific program for getting from point A to point B. Now, you might think that I'm charging $1,000 for this. It would actually be worth it because I'm showing you how to make $1,000 a day. Obviously, you would spend one day of the income you're potentially going to make in order to get this. Of course, I'm not going to charge that, and I could sell, as I have many of my other programs, for $500 or even $100. But actually, just because I'm wanting to introduce people to a membership site that I have and I make available to people, I decided to create a brand new introductory offer for my ultimate point A to point B system. And today only, it's $47. However, because you're visiting this offer on JVZoo, people have asked me to do even better. And for the next 72 hours, I'm making this available to you for only $9.95. That's right. I know it sounds unbelievable, but it's only $9.95. It's only for the next 72 hours because after that, I actually do plan to raise the price to $47. So if you'd like to go ahead and get immediate access 24/7, no matter what city in the world or country you live in, go ahead right now and click the little link below that says PayPal.
Would you repeat that?
It's on recording.
Okay. Anyone that doubts that Marlon Sanders has written a sales page before, replay what you just heard.
Yeah, you might want to get that transcribed.
Yeah, we'll get that transcribed, and, or you're reading off your amazing sales letter formula.
Something, right?
Anyway, Marlon, I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for
I
having
think
me.
we had some.
People got something out of this. The one person that has still managed to hang in till the very end.
Oh no, we got more than that. We got a lot more than that. So.
Wow, I'm impressed. These are the hardcore people that stayed on till the end, Dennis. They're the real go-getters, the hungry people. I like that.
They got the sales page formula dictation there that they're going to treasure forever.
All right.
So
you should put that on JVZ, Dennis. Really serious.
Yeah, I should transcribe this whole chat, right? And we'll put it on JVZoo. And I'll put it on Kindle. So it'll be there for posterity, long beyond the time when we leave this planet. It'll still be motivating and inspiring people.
Yeah, maybe.
But seriously, no, I appreciate your time. I appreciate the time of everybody that stuck with us and that spent time with us today. Marlon, I know we don't agree on everything, but it sure was fun talking with you about all
It
this.
was good, Dennis. I enjoyed it. I hope
Yeah,
people got value out of it.
me too. And hopefully it'll get people thinking. And that's what I like to do with my books and with my Facebook group. It's more um, conversation starters and thought starters, and hopefully we can inspire people from time to time now and then, and that's what makes it all worthwhile as far as I'm concerned. So with that, I think I'm going to wrap it up and call it a day. Again, thanks, Marlon, and thanks everybody for being here.
Great.
Bye.